Good evening and welcome to Around the Grounds here at Finalwhistle.ie. Four games down for decision on this bank holiday Monday, and we will start down on Leeside, where the league leaders Cork City were in the Munster Derby against Treaty United. Cork looking to continue their challenge up the top of the table, taking on fifth place Treaty. Reporting from Turner's Cross is Sam Curtin.
Hi, Diarmuid, and yes, well, it was a second half scoring blitz really that saw Cork City overcome a dogged Treaty United challenge at Turner's Cross this evening. Now, the game itself started pretty slowly, but then all of a sudden, 4 minutes in, Cork had the ball in the back of the net through Matt Healy, but the goal was actually disallowed for what appears to be a foul on one of the Treaty United players in the lead up to the finish. So his joy was short-lived, unfortunately, from a Cork City perspective. But besides that, it was a pretty uneventful first half, really, especially the middle third of it. No real chances. Treaty doing really well in defence, sitting in, keeping the home crowd quiet, and even enjoyed a bit of a sustained pressure themselves without really troubling David Harrington in the Cork City goal. Cork, however, did finish the stronger in the first half, the last 5 minutes in particular. First, a long-range effort on this occasion from Matt Healy once again, but forced a fantastic save out of Treaty United goalkeeper Jack Brady. Someone managed to tip Matt Healy's 25-yard effort around the post. And then moments later, Barry Coffey went very, very close as well, or Aaron Bulger rather, for Cork. Again, though, his effort was stopped by Brady to keep it 0-0 at the break. City started the better as well in the second half. James Duna in particular on the left wing, causing a lot of problems with his crossing. Very, very dangerous indeed from him, but no goal was to come until on 64 minutes, Cork did get the breakthrough, and it did come from the inform man Rory Keating. A fantastic low-driven effort into the bottom right-hand corner, beating Brady, giving him no chance in the Treaty goal to send the home side into Raptors to give Cork a 1-0 lead. And moments later, they got their second. And at this time, it would come through Matt Healy on this occasion as well. Again, a very similar goal to the first one, giving Brady no chance really in goal, but he will be disappointed, the Treaty goalkeeper, because moments later really should have blocked the third goal, which came in as many minutes. This time it came from substitute Keane Bargray, whose shot went through the legs of Brady, unfortunately for him, and what was a pretty solid performance besides that from the Treaty goalkeeper and defence respectively. From there, really, the game really just kind of, I guess, fizzled out really as the points were wrapped up in that 3 minutes or so for Cork, and they seem to be doing that a lot this season. Really kind of quick fire scoring blitzes, getting the results in games, and it pretty much followed the same pattern in this one as well. It finished at Turner's Cross this evening, though. Cork City gaining another 3 points to stay 3 points clear of Galway at the top of the table. It finished at Turner's Cross this evening. Cork City 3, Treaty United 0.
Perfect, Sam. Thank you for that report. Of course, that was Sam Curtin reporting from Turner's Cross just as the final whistle has gone in that game. We had a second game, of course, that also kicked off at 5 o'clock. That's just finished up over at Eamon DC Park, where second place Galway United were looking to continue their charge against Cork City, taking on Longford Town. Watching the action in Galway was Denise O'Flaherty.
Hi, Diarmuid, and it ended here at Eamon DC Park. Galway United 2, Longford Town 0, and second half goals from David Hurley and Max Hemmings, his first for the club, earned Galway a 2-0 win as the tribesmen kept the pressure on the First Division leaders Cork City. Hurley scored from the penalty spot in the 51st minute after Ed McCormick was hauled down by Mick McDonald. The home side then made it 2-0 in the 73rd minute when Max Hemmings scored from just inside the box. Town were reduced to 10 men in the 82nd minute when Dee McMenemy received a second yellow card. And the difference between a full-time and a part-time setup definitely showed today. Town were in Cork on Friday, and then this tricky trip to Galway. And as the game went on, legs got tired and Galway were able to up their performance. In the keenly contested opening half, the visitors actually had the better of the chances, but the home side were the ones that put the ball in the net, but it was ruled out for offside. That goal came in the 28th minute. Alex Murphy got into the box. He played the ball back to Stephen Walsh. His effort was blocked on the Town line, but it was finished to the net by Wilson Weru. It was actually disallowed because Weru had been offside when the move started. Sam Verdon headed over for Town, while Ryan Graydon and McMenemy forced United keeper Conor forced Kearns into making fine saves. And just before the break, Verdon headed over from close range after a good move involving Carl Chambers and McMenemy. 5 minutes into the second half and the deadlock was broken when United were awarded a penalty, which Hurley put away. And minutes later, Town's Eric Malloy had an effort cleared off the line by Diego Portilla. As the half wore dawn, the home side grew more into the game, and in the 73rd minute, Ronan Manning won a free. Conor McCormick's free kick was cleared into the path of Hemmings, and he made no mistake. Town really couldn't compete with Galway, and their fitness told in the end. In the 82nd minute, McMenemy was sent off for a second yellow, and in the 89th minute, Ryan Graydon forced Kearns into making a great save as United held on for a vital win.
Perfect, Denise. Thank you for that report coming from Eamon DC Park. Now, earlier on today, Watford were in action down at the RSC taking on Bray Wanderers. Watford, of course, looking to continue their promotion challenge. Watching the action for us was Sean Comer.
It's full time in Watford, and 10 men Watford have a 1-0 win over Athlone Town, who are still searching for their first win of the season. Somewhat of a frustrating afternoon for Watford, but they eventually get over the line in the end, get the 3 points. I thought in the opening 20 minutes or so, Waterford looked to be dominating the game. Athlone looked very disorganised at the back. But then Athlone kind of out of nowhere came into it. In the 19th minute, Aaron Connolly put in an effort from the right. He put it right at the feet of Carlton Ubizunu. His effort was saved by Brian Murphy, but on second look, it was straight at Murphy. He should have tested him more at that stage. They started to gain momentum around the 32nd minute. And Shane Barnes had a good chance. Connolly chipped it through for him. He found himself one-on-one with Brian Murphy. But he hit it straight at him, and this has kind of been the story of Athlone season, where poor finishing has just cost them in massive moments. It cost them against Wexford Friday night. It cost them here today against Waterford. Murphy hardly had to move a muscle to save Barnes' attempt, and that really came back to bite Athlone later on. It looked like they'd gotten a bit of luck though on the brink of half-time when Richard Taylor received a second yellow and was sent off. He'd been booked previously for a foul on Daniel Dobbins. In this incident, he booked Connolly on the edge of the area. Athlone would have a free and nothing would come from it, but nonetheless Richard Taylor received his marching orders, so Waterford had to play the entire second half with 10 men. Waterford came out with somewhat of a conservative approach in the second half. They sat back, looked to hit Athlone on the counter. I suppose they didn't want to leave themselves vulnerable as they were down to 10 men, but Athlone didn't really play with a sense of urgency. It looked like they'd be happy to have just taken a point from this game, which would be a bit odd given the chances they did have, which could have put them in front. I don't know, maybe with a little bit more urgency they'd have taken something from it. Stephen Kenny, I suppose, nearly gave them the lead in the 70th minute. He got the ball on the right and cut onto his left-hand foot, hit an effort from the edge of the area, but he hit the crossbar. It looked like Murphy may have gotten a tip to it. Nonetheless, very unlucky of Kenny not to score. And just 4 minutes later, the chances not taken in the first half would come back to bite Athlone. Murphy simply kicked the long ball out. Lewis Britton came deep to meet it. He flicked it onto Phoenix Patterson, who ran down the left-hand side. He waited for Britton to get into position, butted into the box. He finished just yards out from goal, giving Waterford the lead. And then, as was the case earlier in the game, Athlone did not play with much urgency in the last 15 minutes. If they did, it didn't look like it. Waterford held on for the win. I suppose Stringer came on and really helped see them out. He put together some great hold-up play in the corner and whatnot. Watford come away with a very hard-fought 3 points, and Athlone are still looking for that first win of the season.
And a big thank you, of course, to Sean Comer for sending us in that report. Now, final action of the day coming to you from Ferry Carrick Park, where Wexford FC took on Bray Wanderers. Wexford, of course, just sitting outside of the promotion places, looking to try and get a valuable 3 points to put them into those places. With a live report from Ferry Carrick Park is Ronan McCarthy.
Well, it's full time at Ferry Carrick Park. The score was Wexford FC 1, Bray Wanderers 1. Ben Feeney got the visitors off to the perfect start with a close range tap in for 1-0, not the start Wexford wanted. But it was a very, very dramatic start as well. Jack Doherty sent in a corner about 20 minutes in. Wexford were able to respond well. Harry Groom making a good strike from distance. But from there, the game really settled down. Not a huge amount of chances then for the rest of the first half, going in then at 1-1. After the break, Dinny Corcoran made a great start. He struck the crossbar, in fact, on 47 minutes. That was probably Wexford's best chance in the second half to go and get a winner. And then Ian Ryan rang the changes then, bringing on 5 subs, and really the most instrumental of them, probably Conor Crowley. He managed to get a good run in on goal with about 20 minutes to go, but just couldn't get a shot away. He was eventually screened off. Late drama then, as the referee pointed to the penalty spot on about 88 minutes. If you had to guess, it was possibly for a handball decision, but it looked like two really good blocks there from Adam Wells and Jordan Talon. But Alex Moody was the hero for Wexford FC. He made an absolutely brilliant save getting down to his left side to save the penalty from Ben Feeney. So final score at Ferrycarrig Park, it was Wexford FC 1, Bray Wanderers 1.
And a big thank you to Ronan, of course, as well, for sending us in that report. While the game finished 1-1 on the field, it is events off the field that have been circulating on social media over the last couple of hours since the game ended earlier on today. And we've certainly not heard the end of the action down at Ferrycarrig Park between Wexford and Bray Wanderers. But we will take a look, of course, at the results and league tables following today's action. Of course, results are flowing at the bottom of your screen. Waterford picking up that 1-0 win over Athlone Town. Wexford and Bray unable to get the better of each other, at finishing 1-1, as Ronan has just said. Cork City with a big 3-0 win over Treaty United, winning that Munster derby down at Turner's Cross, and Galway United keeping the pressure on with a 2-0 win over Longford at Eamon DC Park. Looking at the league tables, it is still a 3-point lead for Cork City at the top of the table, while Galway United do have a game in hand. That win for Waterford leapfrogging Longford Town into third place, but of course Longford have games in hand as well, and it's as you were as Treaty United remain in fifth place, taking up the last of the promotion places. Looking at the league's top goal scorers, it remains tied at the top between Benin O'Brien, Whitmarsh, and Phoenix Patterson, neither on the score sheet today. And it's as you were with Barry Coffey, Rory Keating, and Stephen Walsh, all on 6 goals respectively. No changes toward the top goal scorers. Looking at the clean sheet statistics, we do have one extra clean sheet today for David Harrington and Conor Kearns. David Harrington picking up his 7th clean sheet of the season, but it has been tough for the Cork keeper to keep a clean sheet. That's his first clean sheet in 4 games. Conor Kearns, of course, now on 5, just 2 behind the Cork shot stopper. Now we'll look at fixtures as well. We will be back in action, of course, coming to you this Friday as well, with action from the Premier and the First Division. Going down the bottom of your screen, all games 7:45 unless stated otherwise. Of course, Derry City taking on Bohemians, Drogheda United hosting St. Patrick's Athletic, Shelbourne taking on Sligo Rovers, UCD taking on Dundalk, and Shamrock Rovers taking on Finn Harps. And in the First Division, of course, Rovers and Harps is at 8 o'clock, just to remind you of that one, of course. Athlone Town taking on Cork City, Bray Wanderers taking on Waterford, Cove taking on Galway, and on Saturday, Longford Town take on Wexford. That game kicks off at 7:30, of course. So that's when we will be back to you next, of course, for and around the grounds will be this coming Friday night. Join us on Wednesday evening, starting at 7 o'clock for the League of Ireland podcast with Kieran Callan. Luke Delaney will be on with the Rugby Show podcast at 8 o'clock, and Lana Canan will be on at 9 o'clock with the Women's National League podcast. And of course, you will see me again on Friday evening around 9:45, 10 o'clock-ish. We should have the league, the Around the Grounds coming to you between those times. Of course, look at our social media channels and turn on the notifications to find us then. But until we see each other the rest of the week, have a lovely rest of your bank holiday weekend, and goodbye.